Stand up, but last time I stood up for an hour and a half and I crippled myself. My name is Alan Wheatley. I am chairman of Eastleigh Village Hall Charitable Trust.
No, you've got a good microphone. Why don't you use it?
I've no idea how it works.
Well, it's in the boiler house.
Okay, I will speak louder and I will speak slower. Is that better?
Yes.
Right, very good. My name is Alan Wheatley. I am the chairman of Eastleigh Village Hall Charitable Trust. We are basically here because of the concern for the future of the Village Hall. Back in August of last year, a local developer, Woods Builders of Deal, made an offer for the building to be turned into dwellings. As I understand it, 3 in this part of the site and 2 at the back where the garages are. Right from day one, the front car park will remain the property of the village for free parking for anyone who wants to go to the shops. And that is still the case. We don't want the village to go without a hall in any shape or form. So the offer on the table, Woods came back with that they would actually build a new hall out of their financial reserves, and it would be fit for purpose, and we would literally just lift all our yoga mats and whatever, and even the snooker tables, and move it in. This is in conjunction with a new pavilion for the football club, which was already in process when the offer was made back in August. I met Kevin at that stage. This is Kevin, who is vice chairman of the football club and is also an architect. We sat down and talked it through, and there seemed to be some kind of synergy that both parties could benefit, and hopefully the village would benefit as well. Obviously, any change is going to upset people, so we are here basically to run through where we are at the moment and to answer any questions that you may have. My mouth is right. So, in September, I believe it was, we approached the parish council as to whether there was a suitable site to locate the new hall. And the north end of the gun park seemed the most sensible site in the village. In fact, the way we're looking at it, it's just about the only workable site in the village. If you can come up with another one, please do so. We understand there will be some difficulties, but you know, we talk them through. We believe that it is the best thing for the village, particularly given the state of this building. I've only been chairman for 2 years, but there's an awful lot of work needs doing to secure this building's future, and its running costs are horrendous. You're looking at solid walls, you're looking at a ceiling with part of it where part of it has no insulation whatsoever, and the only reason we've got double glazing is that the old metal crittle windows literally fell out. So that's where we are. There's so much needs doing to this building. As I say, the heating and running expenses are horrendous. And I discovered over the past few months that the old place is still on a cesspit up in the top corner there for some reason. That's fine, or probably was fine, even when it was a school. But as some of you are aware, we have been putting on music concerts over the last few months, and we were genuinely concerned that we would have a problem when we had 170 odd people in here, all bopping away and drinking when the ABBA concert, tribute concert was on. Fortunately, we got away with it, but I don't know how long that will continue. So, you know, it's one long, continuous battle to keep this place in the black. Over the last 2 years, we have developed a team who have committed to the building, witness the music concerts, witness the fact that the wall there with all the bookings on, that is vastly increased over what it was 2 years ago. We have applied ourselves to the running costs, and utilities are now less than half what they were through changing suppliers, but we're still paying over £5,000 a year just to light and heat this place.
You had 56 grand in there a few years ago.
We had 56 grand in there a few years ago, yes, which to me is a disgraceful amount of money when the place was only doing £22,000 turnover. The reason it had £56,000 in the bank was that it went into COVID with about £18,000 in the bank, and the government, wisely or otherwise, was literally throwing money at organisations like this, and the hall came out of COVID with in excess of £45,000 in the bank, even though it was closed for most of that time. It increased from £46,000 through to £58,000 through the hard work of the individuals aforementioned, and the fact that the previous executive basically weren't applying themselves to improving the hall at all.
Saying about the double glazing.
Can I just say one thing? Well, the parish council are chairing this meeting today, so that we don't end up with a free-for-all, everyone starting to shout. We just have a hand up and then we'll...
Can I just say about that you were saying about the double glazing? The floor was warping here at one stage, it was all flooded, yeah? So we had the car park done, we had those doors put in, air bricks to prevent all that. So it wasn't just put in for that.
Okay, well, it is a form of insulation, but it's just about the only form that we do have.
Mr.
Yeah,
Whitley.
we open those doors.
It's a bit warm in here, isn't it, everybody?
Yeah. Mr. Whitley,
Yes.
when you say the hall will be handed over fit for purpose, what does that entail? Does it mean it will be ready for us to walk in and have the booking
Yes.
straight away? Will the
Yes.
whole kitchen be done,
Yes.
everything done?
Yes.
No, there's not going to be a kitchen.
No, that's wrong.
I'll jump in at this point because there's going to be a lot of repeat questions that come up. So, Kevin Gilligan is part of the Youth Club. So, the one thing that I should probably make absolutely clear right off the bat, when we had an extraordinary meeting called by the parish council, that was to decide a poll about whether or not they or how they go through a voting process for the project. that was a little bit premature. Both Joe and Mark I've spoken to concede that that's reasonable, because what it ended up being is a free-for-all, because people didn't want to know about what the pole was going to be, they wanted to know what the project was going to be. And there were no drawings. There were no plans, there were no drawings, so everybody was quite rightly put up a rabbit in headlights. Without going to the full extent of a pre-planning application, we've put a lot of time, effort, finance into putting a project that is a principal proposal. So when we talk, and there was a little bit of kind of miscommunication, let's say, at the last meeting, the plans that were proposed were to make sure that the minimum footprint, that we absolute minimum, and we've not got the minimum footprint that we needed as a design brief starting point, was anything in the new building has got to have, at the very least, everything that's in this building. How do you do that? You've got to put lines on paper to develop a plan. So a plan developed to make sure that the new building had everything that this building has. And because it was a combination of both the village hall and the football club coming together as one entity, as a community hub project, that therefore meant that we obviously the building was going to grow. There is a project that was already starting to develop for the football club. That was essentially being put on ice, and I think in the last meeting I called it the Plan A. So Plan A was just to develop a new, larger, fit-for-purpose clubhouse, which the parish council are in support of. The new project, yes, plans were there, but things like kitchen, cafe, things like that, they were shown were indicative only. The village must, as an architect, irrespective of any relationship with Alan, as an architect, the bare minimum I would want is to ensure that the village were integrated in that conversation going forwards as to what you guys want to do in the building. The whole that the parish council are going to want to move forward on isn't about what's in the building. It is very, very simply, do the village support, in principle, a building, a community hub building being put on the gun park in position to propose. Everything within that envelope is essentially up for grabs.
Yes.
Can I just say to you, you say about the kitchen, but I was here, you on the last meeting, you did also say, you keep saying that is critical. You did say yourself, you have a friend that is going to come in and run a kitchen.
If we're going to be correct, I didn't say that at all. I didn't say that at all. Alan was talking, excuse me, my colleague Alan said
You
that.
said you have a friend that's going to run that
I
kitchen.
didn't. If you're going to say a quote, if you're going to quote me, make sure you're correct. If you're going to quote, make sure it's correct. I didn't say that at all.
This lady's question.
Because you've jumped in. You've jumped in and you're wrong.
We're all going to 6 days a week.
The building, right, never mind, let's just calm down, calm down.
Well, you're being worried to me too, actually.
I asked for a hand to be in the air. Did I not?
Because
Did I not? I asked for there to be hands. I asked for hands to be put in the air so that this didn't happen.
But you're not answering her question. You're going around
Because you jumped in.
Can I just take over for a second, because we're not getting anywhere with this, are we?
Well, maybe you should listen to the instructions for handing it.
Stop talking to me like I'm 10 years old, just because you want to
listen to the instruction then.
Can we call it a call there? Okay. Let the gentleman at the front here have the opportunity to explain what they want to explain. And can I just say, on Kevin's behalf, he was not the person that made the comment that has upset people. But I think, let's draw a line under that. That was the previous meeting. We don't want the repeat of this meeting of people getting irate, unhappy, and not fairly listening to Alan and Kevin. There will be an opportunity at the end. We have added up from the parish council. We've added up how many people are here, the information leaflet you have explained about that. We will just take a show of hands vote. No action will be taken just on a show of hands vote, but it gives an indication to the parish council. Is that clear? My husband and I from the parish council, there's another parish councillor here. We're happy to answer your questions at the end. but if we could just put hands up, just so that the gentleman at the front can actually give their views, and then you'll have an opportunity after that. Does everybody agree with the way forward?
Yeah, if he does not talk to me like that, I don't agree.
Boy, this poor man's had his hand up a long time.
As I said, one of the things I said about the last meeting, just to absolutely make clear, was there was a miscommunication. Okay, there was a miscommunication about what was going to be in there. Conversations about a cafe, premature.
No, they can't hear at the back.
Lines then. So conversations about the cafe, conversations about the kitchen, they were premature. Okay? All we're talking about at the moment is simply the envelope of the building. To be able to have a reasonable conversation, there has to be a proposal. All we've done at the moment is try to put together a proposal that would suggest how this building and the football club could come together as one entity. The way that a building has to be developed, if I just designed it with a shell only, where do windows go? Where does access go? It just simply wouldn't stand up. So you've got to have a plan. A plan generates what a building looks like. But the plan itself was indicative only. If anything was said at the last meeting that would suggest otherwise, in terms of there being some kind of firm offer, some kind of firm statement that there will be everything that was on that plan, is not correct. The plan was suggestive only. We would want to talk to anyone, including your good self. Okay? I apologise if I raised my voice, but when I'm told I said something, but I didn't.
No, that's fair enough. There's no saying it was actually said by someone else.
So I apologise for raising
No,
my
that's
voice.
okay, you did.
And
Yeah,
nice to
no,
see you
that's
here
fair.
too after your little speech as well. I think that's kind of the overview. Crack on, sir.
Okay, I've heard a lot about football and some nice pictures and all that. What I haven't heard is there any money being offered, or is it just to build a new building?
There's £850,000 been offered by Woods developers. There's £100,000 from the sports.
We've got grants in the region of 100,000.
£850,000 offered for this building, this site,
On the side.
Except with the exception of the front car park, yes.
exception front car park. And the building of the new money that comes out of that money, building the new, or that is plus building.
No, that will pay in part for the new building. We're not trying to pretend that it will pay everything. But
I'm sorry, I'm biting in. I'm losing my rank. It is theft, right? The value of this hall is on the land. The land is own true value. So if anyone is offering you money to buy this hall, and they're going to make money out of constructing on the hall, so they are stealing from the village all the profit they make plus the money they have to spend to build the developments, and that is taking it directly from the village. This will continue to raise increasing value over the years to come, because the only thing in the world that is guaranteed to become more valuable is land. So whatever changes are made is theft from the charity that runs this commission, this village economy, and from the village, and stealing the north end of the gun park to develop it and turn it into concrete is a crime.
It's reallocating.
Maybe ask clients and auctions, for example, to give you a value of the property.
Yes.
And can we know that?
They came out between 800 and 850,000 pounds, and that was the one in Sandwich.
In 2010, it was insured for $1.5 million. To be fair, though, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Yes.
Worth more than that. It might be.
Just the one.
Well, that's not viable. That's not viable.
We're still talking about establishing a principle. Yeah. I've got lots of better things to do than be talking to 6 or 7 different estate agents who will all come out with a similar number. We're talking about a principle, right?
If
I mean,
you're going to start a project, and this is what you want to continue to do, you have to obtain initially 2 evaluations. If this is what this
So
is
they've
the
had
road you want to
evaluation,
go
they've had
down.
evaluation from the contractor, and they've had evaluation from the engineer.
Yeah, you need 2. No, you just
Yeah,
need 2
but
evaluations.
again, this is purely to start the ball rolling. It's not a given, and even if the principle of this building, let's just for the argument's sake say it was supported, just for argument's sake, we are still a long way away from anything but a spade going into the ground on that gun park, because no planning has been sought. It's the pre-app itself, the pre-planning advice, that could come back with issues from the local district council. So you can't put a proposal as significant as this without lots of investment in time and money. Now I've done that, I'm not going to get that back. If you guys say you don't want it, then that's their money. Yes, I volunteered that time and the effort. However, to be able to move forwards, we simply wanted to test whether or not it is something that the village want or don't want. And just to be completely honest and even taking into account my colleague next to me, if this doesn't want to go forward, the football club are still an integral part of this village. And what we don't want to do is upset anyone. So, which is why sometimes I'm going to get upset when it's a all we're trying to do is test the water to see if, on the basis of Alan's introduction to me, on the dangers that are essentially on offer or potentially coming forward, we're trying to make this building sustainable for the future. If this project was to go ahead and the football club do their own clubhouse, which is going to happen anyway, just to be clear, when they're talking about stealing and theft, they're very strong words. The parish council have already supported, in principle, a new clubhouse, and it's going to be at least double the size of the existing one. So you guys need to, or I'm not saying guys, that has to be taken into account.
Just leave the village all where it is.
That it may well indeed go the way it goes. It could be the way it goes. But I just wanted to say, the only reason I'm standing here is because something has been suggested, we're testing the water. If that isn't wanted by the village, then it doesn't happen, and we revert back to plan A of the clubhouse only project.
I was going to say, if 850 is to be offered for this building and the football club can contribute 100,000, but the new build is going to be more than 950, where is the other rest of the money going to come from?
100,000 is already what we've had in terms of tentative conversations with one grant supplier. We're going to be going out to everybody because there's obviously going to be a shortfall for the football club are going to have to make, and there's obviously going to be a shortfall for what the village are going to have to make. So there will be grants, whether it be lotteries, Sport England, all of those entities are going to have to be liaised with to be able to deal with what the shortfall might be.
So do we have any idea whether, how much the shortfall would be and how that money might be raised?
Well, as I say, there is the village itself, if it was to be supported, there could be crowdfunding itself, because that was even mentioned as a possibility for this building. But the main crux of the money will be circa, finger in the air, 850, 900 for this. 100 or so at the moment has already been tentatively suggested, so we're up to around about $1 million. We believe, again informally, because nobody's offering their services completely for free, the QS has suggested is going to be in the region of about 1.2, 1.3 million pound project. But these numbers are very, very loose, because at the moment they're saying what are we pricing? I'm saying that the building is likely to be this, but it could be bigger, it could be smaller. I'm going through a public consultation process, so they're not going to commit their time on it's changed to this, it's changed to that, but there will be a shortfall, and there will be grants required to top that up, to actually meet that shortfall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just concerned that at the moment we don't actually know whether it's a financially viable project.
And again, if the principle of the project is agreed, and for whatever reason, at the next stage, going to pre-app, it could stumble at pre-app. If at the next stage, in terms of funding, it doesn't go anywhere. This village has had some nasty experiences. The hospital is very much in the back of everyone's mind. We are not going to go down the path of another hospital project. If we haven't got the funds, the project doesn't go forward. It's as simple as that. Yes.
The other week, when at the meeting, Alan was saying that there's a done deal with Woods buying it. Almost a done deal. He said it was almost ready to be signed.
I don't remember saying that, so.
No, perhaps you don't remember, but I remember.
Whether it was said or not, absolutely, there are no numbers. Just to emphasise
All
what I
your
just said.
finances are high in the sky.
No, that's a little bit harsh. They're indicative based on an indicative scheme.
Look, I'm not going to interrupt you. Please don't interrupt me. Okay? You haven't got the finances in place, and you won't have until you've got a structure virtually on paper.
We won't have that until the principle. If the principle is agreed, then the next bag of fees is released. Because then we can go into the public consultation of what do you guys want in the building. So that's the next stage. At the moment, we're only talking about can a building envelope be fitted onto the grass. Anything else is up for grabs at the moment. So yeah, it is a principle only conversation.
Kevin, this lady's had her hand up for a long time. Are you legally entitled to sell the property?
Sorry,
Are you legally entitled to sell the property?
At this moment, no, but wait a minute, please. We have applied to Land Registry because ever since Land Registry was instituted, nobody bothered to register this building on it. So we inherited that situation. We started applying for it to be recorded on Land Registry for a totally different reason about 18 months ago, and we've had word back from the solicitor that it will be finished within the next few weeks. I know I said that at the last meeting, but solicitors do move at their own pace, but it will be available to sell.
Would you apply for title at the same time that these talks?
That's not a question really. Are you allowed
Hang
to
on,
sell?
wait.
But did you apply for title at the same time that you told the villages of your plans, or was it before you told the villages about those plans?
Sorry, I missed the first part of that.
Did you apply for title of the building before the
Before.
villages were told of the plans?
Before, as I say, we
I'd
started.
like to know the dates, if possible, that you applied on the first date that the villages were told of the
I'd have to go back into the minutes of the village hall. There are some village hall committee members here, but we basically started on that route to try and change the village hall from a charitable trust to a charitably incorporated organisation, the CIO. The reason for that was basically the difference between a sole trader and a limited company as far as the trustees were concerned, who had got their knickers in a knot, and we pulled out of that because we really didn't need to go there with the extra expense.
So what I take from that then is you're not legally entitled to sell the property?
Strictly speaking, not at the moment,
No.
right? But if you want, I'll get somebody to put on Facebook when we are legally entitled, and it won't be long.
And the dates as well, please.
I can do that.
We've got a few questions, sorry. The new hub, how is it going to be kept safe through the day? Because obviously it's going to be open all day long, so how are you going to stop people going in and out when they don't need to be in there?
So one of the design principles was that there's a hard line between football and
But there's going to be meeting rooms and the hairdressers or dog groomers. So those doors got to be open all day. So I know you've got one, but if there's a dance going on, like a dance group here, how are you going to stop strangers coming in and into the facilities?
Basically the same way as we do here.
Not really, because you haven't got the cafe here, you haven't got the
cafe
the hairdressers here, you haven't got the dog groomers here, you haven't got meeting
No,
rooms here.
if those parts of the building go ahead, then they will be able to be entered from the outside or from the lobbies. but the main hall will still be
But
locked.
then that's not on the things, because the hairdressers, you can only access the hairdressers from inside the building.
Yeah, by going up through the lobby
Yeah.
and the stairs, but there will then be access to that room, because if it's not open,
Okay, then you've got, if there's nothing going on, how people, you could stop people from walking in the hall and just reaching around.
oh, I see what you mean.
Because you've got a badminton court going in, so people are obviously going in and out all day playing badminton.
Well, in
So how do
theory,
you stop people that, and Elsham's always getting vandalised, so how are you going to stop people getting in and out that are going to cause havoc?
The best way to answer that is actually, again, when we actually start to firm up, if it goes past principal design stage, i.e. yes, we think a building may be located on the dump park, a question like that is probably one of the first questions to have.
They will be safe, because you've got the primary school there, you don't want people going in upstairs, looking out the windows, watching the primary school kids.
Again, it's how, without any fees dried up long ago, so it's how far do you go in terms of designing and being able to put something on paper for you guys to be able to make a judgment call on. But that is a brilliant question, and it's going to need to be carefully thought out, because what we don't necessarily want to do is have kind of a need for it to be manned all the time it's open.
No, you won't be able to afford it.
Exactly.
My second question is, you've said that things are dwindling in the village hall now. How is it going to be up and coming in the new hall? How will you get the people in?
it's not dwindling now, it's
Well, you
increasing.
said up there that, it's getting less and less on the
No,
rotors
it's getting
hall.
more and more.
Oh, it's getting more and more.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
No.
that's fine. But they have got the scout hut that we can use. We've got the pub we can use. We've got other amenities. Just why are those at Churchill? Why is those activities not happening now anyway? Why would a new hall bring in new additional activities?
Because this is the biggest space available for hire in the village,
Right.
and the new hall part of it will be marginally bigger than this,
Okay.
but it will be able to be expanded into the recreational area through
One of the things that Alan has asked to be included in why the building actually is as elongated as it is because he's getting lots of questions for additional sports to be played in here in terms of five-a-side football, badminton, paddleball, things like that. So one of the reasons why the building has actually been designed in kind of its envelope into kind of visually three parts is that the first curved part would be where the badminton and the stage is, because you need the height for badminton. When that space isn't used, there's going to be a hard partition across that space doesn't have to be heated when it's not in use.
I've got a couple of questions from the Parish Council. Have they got the £2,000 to pay for the vote, or was that going to go on our council tax next year?
It's not in the budget, so it will go on.
Okay,
It
our
will be.
council
I think
tax.
it'll be worth every penny.
Also, has the Eastern Parish Council got the money to move the skateboard around the thing?
So this came up was obviously part of the last conversation. So the skate park needs to be replaced
Removed, yeah.
within the next 2 to 3 years. It needs to.
Yeah. They've got the money for that though, haven't they?
They've got some funds,
Yeah.
not all funds. Obviously, I questioned the fees. Debbie had originally said to the parish council that it was going to be circa 150. We've got quotes closer to 90. So straight away we're kind of closer to what the parish council may or may not have in their initial kitty. But as part of the conversation, yes, there is a need to move the skate park. Where that goes is a conversation moving forward.
My last question.
I don't think it's in the council's kitty at the moment, it's in the plans. Skate park has been recently assessed as being safe, but in need of replacement. So yes, it's in the plans to replace, but there isn't an allocation of money. They would be looking to donor the council for some indication or some contribution to that, but it's not in the plans currently.
My last question, the disabled toilet, is it going to be a changing facility? The disabled toilet, is it going to be a changing facility with the hoist and a bed so every disabled person can use it? And will that be able to be used when the hall is not open?
It would need to be a facility that is absolutely compliant with legislation.
Yeah. Thank you.
Including baby training.
That's it, thank you.
Young lad, please be kind.
Right, I've got two questions. The first one has two parts. The first one, if the village hall, if the whole community of East Street does not want to move this village hall, are you going to say no to the offer?
Yes. It wouldn't go ahead.
Okay. Then the second part to it is, are we going to have a stage if we do say yes to the new village, or is there going to be a stage in the new village?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and bigger than this one.
Is any consideration given to the residents of Crooks Lane who will instead look out of their bedroom windows and see the side of an industrial building as opposed to a beautiful field? And also, more importantly, or just as importantly, is any consideration given to the children in the play park who are now going to be looking over a concrete car park and the side of an industrial building? I mean, I went up there yesterday. The building is enormous. It's in the narrowest part of the park, the most concentrated area where you have residents, where you have children playing. And I can't fathom why someone thought it'd be a good idea to land a massive industrial building at that point. The children might be able to see anything except the side of the building. I finished now.
So I would probably argue against it being an industrial building because there's not many industrial buildings that are making timber for a start. Secondly, the need to actually split the building into three parts is because what I didn't want to put there is one gill tennis kind of monolithic block. I wanted it to have a sense of having components to it which represent what's actually going on inside. For example, where the windows aren't, there's no overlooking at all to the residents to the side. In the first floor to the right, that's going to be where the snooker club is. There's no need for windows. The apex of the existing roof has been put line through with where the apex of the existing houses are. It's a two-storey building, but the eaves come in lower on the side so that we don't end up with a higher building. The only reason why the left-hand side is as high as it is for the badminton. In terms of why the building is where it is, what we don't want to do is having to trip a car park or people having to get to the top part of the pitch or the site where there's one, no services, two, you need access to get there. It doesn't stack up in that sense. Plus the fact the football pitch is already there. In terms of taking a step backwards, the football club, as I said at the start, are already running through with a plan A, let's call it. That plan A is for a new clubhouse and to also design or include a second pitch. Why is there a need for a second pitch? At the moment, that gun park doesn't drain. At the moment, both the adults and the youths, we're planning for at least 30% of our home games are ash at the moment, because the pitch after one year, after bad weather, is simply unplayable and dangerous. So you've got an Eastleigh Football Club playing their football at ash at the moment. So, I can see it's like you're waving in my periphery. I'll come to you. I'll come to you. So there is a need for a second pitch. That's been discussed with the parish council. It's not gone as far as a public vote with the parish council, although initial conversations have been suggested that they would support, but that has not been voted for at all. I've had initial conversations with both Debbie, Joe and Mark, but nothing has been voted on, just to be clear. There's nothing firm in agreement with that. What has happened is Dover District Council have assessed both the existing pavilion and the existing pitch as very poor. In other words, due for replacement. The existing pitch would need to be scraped with new drainage put in to be able to sustain the amount of usage that we've got for the football club. Why is that different now to what it used to be 20 years ago? Grassroots football, trying to sustain the new incoming football teams for the new grassroots football to be sustainable, so that we've not just got men's league, which is going to just die when me and the guys at the league stop playing football. There is going to be no village football team. So we are actively trying to encourage under 9s, 7s, 12s, 14s, all to take up the sport, because what we don't want to have is a village that doesn't have a football club. The youth club do a fantastic job at the moment, but they can only do that twice a week. What do the youths have in terms of being able to use their energy, keep fit, and actually have a positive future? The football club is a fantastic way for... The football club it's one of the oldest football clubs in the country, and we don't want to have to move that club anyway. So the second pitch is an absolute necessity to be able to support the underage groups. be able to fit the 2 pitches on, the existing clubhouse can't stay in the current position, and we know it's got to get bigger as well. So there's another reason why it's got to be relocated. So the new clubhouse is almost definitely going to be located somewhere in the position where the community hub building is located at the moment. So that would be what happens in terms of plan A if this doesn't go forward. So that's really the backstory as to why, one, we've got an adult pitch at the top, the widest part where it needs to be for minimum dimensions, so that's got to be at the top. Junior pitch, smaller, that's then below it, and then we've obviously got the community hub or a clubhouse that would be located below it. So that's the strategy for the pitch.
Right, I think you've gone through that. So it looks to me like at least 40% of the child's play park is either facing a car park or the side of the building, either by your own drawings.
Well,
so that's really not very fair on them.
Well, what we've actually tried to do is actually try and spin that through complete 360. At the moment, you've got parents who can't really park. You said about transport. At the moment, trying to get into the school at the moment when it's drop off or pick up is an absolute nightmare. I know because I have to do it myself. So we're trying to alleviate that problem by providing car park spaces which is away from the road. You can then, rather than having to have kids potentially dealing with double parked cars, you've actually got a car park where you can walk down the side of the building and then cut through green space. The cafe is, again, it's all in principle, but the cafe has been designed to be on the corner so that actually if on a school afternoon you can actually have parents sat in the cafe whilst the kids are playing football. You can have a cup of tea whilst you wait for your parents can have a cup of tea in the cafeteria whilst they're waiting for their kids to arrive.
Well, they're having a picnic in the park. That's all. Obviously, plan A for you.
Okay, noted, thank you very much. Away you go.
I've got a few questions I had written down earlier. So, but first of all, if you have 2 pitches, would you have to remove some of the wooded area at the bottom to accommodate that? So that, because it's not shown really on the plan, so...
That's not there, no.
Right, okay, so that's fine. Now, do you need to use both pitches at the same time?
Possibly.
Right. Now, I mean, when my son played in the under 11s, under 12s, whatever, they were using the school playing field and the parking outside the school. Is that not still used?
For the youngest of all the age groups, that might be a possibility going forwards. But again, we're trying to focus on the main teams we're looking at, the under 12s, 13s going up. So they're the ones at the moment that are losing out because if a men's match happens on a Saturday, if we've had rain that night, even if it's not torrential rain, the Sunday pitch might be available.
Okay. Now, I mean, some of these are not necessarily in order. The sight lines, you just mentioned the cafe and that parents could sit in the cafe and look at the children in the park, but in actual fact the sight lines don't allow that because the windows, yes, maybe the design's going to be changed.
I can see where you're going with that. So one of the things that I'll be looking to do is actually turn the corner for that cafe so that you can actually have side glazing rather than...
Yeah.
So the relationship between the stage and the cafe will probably change so that we can actually have a corner element so that people can sit inside or outside and have full view of them.
And that's all very well if you're using the cafe, but if you're a parent coming from the school pushing a buggy and you've got another youngster that runs on ahead into the play park, you can't see half the play park because the corner of the building obstructs it. And I'm just concerned that could be a safeguarding concern because you can't see where your child has run to necessarily. They've gone for the play park and the children do that because they're used to coming out of school and just running onto the green, and parents are talking with other parents pushing buggies, holding a smaller child maybe.
Well, in terms of safeguarding, the simplest thing would obviously be to make sure that there's some kind of arrangement with security so that they can't just go out into the road. But just like
Well,
would be in sort of
no, I don't mean the road. I mean that the children are going to the play park and the corner of the building will cut off the sight lines to see the whole of the play park. I went out there and I looked at the markings, but it's also on the plans. You can see it if you look at the sight lines, because the children go in a straight line across the green.
I wouldn't necessarily expect a parent to stay on the other side of the park and not go over to, if it's a youngster in the play area, they're going to go over to the play
Yes,
area, aren't
the parents do follow, but not necessarily at the same speed as a child on a scooter.
They're going to go into the entrance, aren't they? They don't enter at the bottom, they're going to go through the entrance gate, so you're going to go see them go through the entrance gate and then catch up with them.
Well, I just felt that it's a concern that if the parent is on the field, that the building block, the corner of the building blocks the sight lines to to two sets of swings and the roundabout.
If someone was to stand on where the entrance to the park is, yes, there would be a sight line issue, but you've got to look after your children. Sure,
Well,
I suppose it depends how many children
it depends
you
on your
have.
children,
if you've
doesn't
got
it?
4 children, we've had Lara's had 3 children. She used to run off all the time. Then you got 2 children behind, trying to catch up with them. You're not going to see their
I suppose you could use the same argument. Say if you're a parent in the play area and one of your children is outside on the grass, they can quite easily meander down to the side of where the youth building is. Where the youth building creates an area there that they could run into if you're not holding their hand. So there's parts of there's already parts of that park. It's not a square park.
I think that actually at the moment you've got excellent visibility, and yes, there may be places they could hide behind the little bus shelter thingy, but actually for the most part it is very good visibility across that whole area. But if I just work down this, so we know about the wooded bit, the site park. My general feeling about the building is that it's kind of very large for that small area. And had you not considered putting it at the other end of the park, down of that, yeah. So, was there a reason why that wasn't viable?
Did you listen to the answer to the question?
I didn't quite get it. The viability reason.
So, what I explained to the young lady back. So,
Sorry.
first of all, if you're going to have a building at the top, you need pathways, parking, access, services. It's not the place to put a building at the top.
There is a driveway, isn't there?
The pitch, the adult pitch, can't be brought forward if you're going to have a second pitch, because it literally needs the dimensions of an adult football pitch. It has to be at the top. That's why it is where it is at the moment. So to suggest putting a building at the top where the men's pitch is, it wouldn't fit any lower. It's as simple as that.
Well,
I mean, very, very simple geometry.
and what about the garages that are for rent out the back here? I mean, I know there's been a waiting list for those. I've had friends that
What
had.
about the consideration for them? Garage.
Where are they going to park?
What's going to happen with regard to people who currently rate the garages on this site?
Well, the garages will be knocked down and other buildings will be put there to any.
So where are they?
Where they parking? £200 a year to this place. £4,200 plus permits for people parking.
Well, that's quite good income, isn't it?
Consideration there, Alan. I thought he was going to leave the chairmanship after 2 years. So why?
I was asked, the AGM hasn't actually occurred yet, and I've been asked to stay on for 1 more year.
Well, surely, if you want to build this new hall, you want to stay on this, wouldn't you? Or is it just?
I will consider my future, as it develops. That's between me and the committee as a whole.
Well, I think you're taking away the only green space we've got in this village, haven't you?
Just to counter that ever so slightly. So if I was, because I live in Bill, so what was it about acting like cows? What was it about acting like cows? If you were to look at the drawing, which will actually show.
Oh, so,
Would you like us to come across and do that?
build something?
It's better than the town, isn't it?
So when it's
consideration you've given to construction traffic? What consideration have you given to construction traffic? We happen to live where there's been construction recently on the farm site, and the construction traffic is horrendous. I mean, they got yellow lines put down. Nobody else had managed to do that, but they did. and traffic going down there, it's just almost impossible. If there's a lorry there, nobody can come or go along that road.
So in terms of a building strategy, what would happen is that the building would be built first, that they would use the car park as their compound. So they would come in just like a refuse truck. When we were doing the line markings the other day, a refuse truck would come down, the delivery truck is no different than a refuse truck, so it would come in, then it would park in the car park. That car park would then, at the very end of the build, would be the last part of the puzzle. So then you've got very, very limited requirement for the big stuff that you would need for the main building.
Sorry,
So,
like garbage truck only comes once a week.
sorry, yeah.
A garbage truck only comes once a week.
True.
Construction vehicles go every day.
Yeah. You don't just want one vehicle, do you?
Oh, no.
No, a lot of what you said. And another thing is, where you said about them houses with the thing, where my mum lives, she's got a lovely, beautiful extension right behind her now.
Oh,
You know, where, so you open that window and you see trees.
That's what Cook's here
Yeah,
about.
they've got so high.
Sorry. What's the question? Sorry.
Oh, he was just jumping on that question.
I was jumping on that question, this young lady here, saying down that road, if you want yellow lines, the council have put them in for themselves, suits them. But I'm just saying, it's a boys' town, behind that, you've got massive triangle buildings now, where you look at.
So
That's
people
what
of
Cook's
Cooksley
here
are going to be looking
at,
at.
and it's quite a high building, it's 8.5 at the highest point, isn't
Which
it?
is
Which is
higher
higher than
than
our
our
house
house.
is.
So at the moment, in terms of the building strategy, we've taken it on board as much as we can, trying to keep that apex of the ridges as low as we can, but equally, if there's a snowball as well as the Badminton, there are minimum heights.
Well, I think we've got enough build at the moment here. It's just getting stupid at the fire station, you know, in the fire station, that lot, that needs to be done before anything else.
Have you actually considered looking at a different aspect to this? I can hear you saying that you want extra for football. My son used to play for Eastleigh Ravens, so we know the issues that go on. And obviously you want badminton and such like. Why can't you split the two and say, right, we'll look at sport in the village, reduce the size of that and keep it down to sports over there, perhaps come up with a different plan and leave the village hall where it is.
We're still left with a building here that is ridiculously expensive to run, particularly in the winter time.
But to be fair, maybe because you brought all this to us, maybe now people understand that they would need to put some more time, effort and expense into it. People will support it.
Well,
if nobody knows what the situation has been, how can we help? But if you go along and say sports over there, village hall here, I'm sure the amount of people that have turned out who've said, actually, this is not what we want, will get behind the village hall and put money in there if it's needed.
I would be only too happy to keep this building as the village hall. But as a business person, the numbers. They are so difficult, and the way that utilities are increasing in price, it's just going to become untenable at some stage without some fairly major investment. And that's, you know, if somebody wants to volunteer to do a GoFundMe or whatever, then happy days.
But you're saying that you've got money, there's separate money at different stages, and you're talking about grants. Grants aren't supported all the time. They can say they can offer a grant, but when it comes down to paper signatures, they're not always there. So you've actually got a deficit to start with. So why don't you literally keep the two separate?
I think that's going to be down to expense more than anything else, because the football club probably can't fund a badminton court. And the horse certainly can't, because we need £100,000 really just to make this place count.
Someone else does, otherwise it wasn't got a plan.
I'll be nice. Can I just
Someone must have asked for it.
No, I might have got it wrong. So a minute ago, when you were talking, I'm kind of going back a little bit. About if this doesn't go through, and so like you said, you have a separate thing and kind of village hall bits left. Did I, and I'm only saying I might have heard it, did I hear you right when you said that if it is a separate entity, so the football club bit gets done on its own, did I hear you right did you say that the new pavilion, if it was a separate building, will still be positioned where the hut is going
It
to
will
be?
still, it will be at the bottom of the park.
So it would still be there. So without being rude, I'm not taking at you, but the kids would still lose their skate park and stuff anyway.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
So
it
it would be
wouldn't
in that
be as
area.
big.
So it would still be in that area,
In-
just
in-
as opposed to
It's probably likely that if you actually look at the plans,
yeah,
on the left-hand side closest to the path,
yeah.
at the moment the plan, the left-hand side from front to back, if you're looking down that path, is the first third of that building is for the football. If you take everything else away, it's probably going to be in the same place, but without everything
So
else.
the club would still stay back there anyway.
Yes.
Right, the lady here did mention about the garages going, okay, which is fair enough they would do. Where are those people going to park who currently rent all those garages? Because there's quite a few of them, they've all got cars, motorbikes and everything else. Where are they going to park? In the village, which is already overcrowded. And two, I do really question the access to the village hall, the new proposed village hall, through Gore Road, Gore Terrace. Because that is a single lane. And talk about the trucks and the lorries going all along there. It won't be just that when it's built, it'll be all the traffic as well, doing all the sports that will be up there. So that road would be a nightmare, because you've got two, and I've said this before, pinch points, Beckett's at one end, and the other end, which is just, again, very, very narrow. It's a nightmare, that road. I live on that road, so I do know what it's like. But can you answer about the cars first?
I'll do the latter part. I'll let Andy do this. So the only thing I would say to that is, obviously, driving around East Street, when I was coming to this very meeting, a lad in a purple sports car, he was spinning his wheels, going down. There's only one car can get past because of the parked cars, and that's the main high street. East Street has an intrinsic problem with parking and access. But I would argue that trying to cross, the children have been spoken about quite a few times, that junction there is not child friendly.
That's why people have been trying to get 20 miles an hour.
Yes, we have.
But the point I'm making is just simple. If you've actually if you're driving and you're actually parking directly in facing the facility, as opposed to trying to get up, because obviously that car park can only sustain its own car park spaces. So when you can't get in there, I've actually seen a car trying to reverse back on there because it come up the road and saw that those car parks.
So how's that going to change up all road?
We get there anywhere, right?
All I'm saying is you can't change the geography of the village.
So they're going to put all yellow lines
Yeah,
there?
Well, you hit on a really good point. So one of the things that as a designer, if the principle was to be sold, I would actually say that all in front of the building place there probably does need to be yellow. Because then you've got minimum 30 spaces in the complex.
We're not going to take our cars and park in the complex. We want to park on our road like we've always done.
So you want to, we've just said that blocking the road is a problem.
Village hall users
Blocking the road is
will want to park in the complex.
But one minute you say that the access is a problem, and then you're saying that you're going to definitely park there anyway. I'm trying to say that by literally pushing back where you park by, we're talking about 3 metres, you've got all of the parking spaces available.
Are there any plans to change? What is the access to this? You think it's Gore Road looks there?
You said that's a dangerous junction and you want to increase the traffic.
More. It's going to be even more dangerous because people are going to be going down
The idea of this is that there's going to be a one-way system, so there's no parking outside.
There's a one-way
in
system.
and one way out. No, a one-way parking, a one-way parking system. One way into the car park and one way out.
No, what about access to the car park? Access to where is the traffic going to?
As per the plan, have you looked at the plan?
It's a lead problem.
So you mean, the in and out is off of one way.
Yes.
So it's already awful around there. The amount of lorries, gas cars.
So just to answer your questions, again,
what they're
In terms of actually trying to take a step forward, I'm no parking or traffic expert, so all of your questions, all of them, they will be answered at the next. If principle of a building on the grass as per the plans was to actually be supported, the next phase of fees are then unlocked to be able to have sustainability reports, ecological reports, drainage reports, traffic reports, parking. If any of those reports flag that what you're suggesting to me is actually this is not going to be a project that goes forward, it stops at that point. But we can only go so far forward without actually putting a proposal on the table. So the proposal is put on the table. If it's supported in principle, you then get all of the surveys that would answer your questions would then come into play because the fees will be unlocked to actually pay for it.
We can't approve it in principle if we don't know what the access is going to look like.
Have you looked at the plan?
There is no new access to that.
No, there's no new roads.
No, excuse me, so I'm just saying, there's so many people asking the same questions, and these people are wasting ages to ask the questions. It's the same people asking and asking and asking.
Yeah.
What about other people that need to ask questions?
So what is your question?
This lady here, she's had a roll up blanket.
Well, wait a minute.
It's not so much a question, but it's come to notice to me that Dover District Council are currently taking a really dim view on taking away green space. Apparently the extension in Thursday Avenue of their play area hit massive problems because they did not want to park with taking away green space. That is just taking away the masses of it. I don't think they will, you know.
So you're again a little bit like the parking question. That may well get bounced out for that very reason. Now, the reason why it may not is because actually DDC and the leisure part of the council are very pro grassroots football. See, there's always that trade-off between the two. However, your question may well and will be formally and properly comprehensively answered at the next stage. That's
Nick Kenton said, and you know, I don't always agree with what he says, but he said, why don't you go for the pre-app? Because we need all be doing this.
because the council want to know, do you in principle support or do you not support? If in principle you support, we go for a pre-app. That's kind of, I agree with you. I do agree with you, and I would ordinarily go for a pre-app to answer a lot of these questions first.
So when is the vote?
Sorry?
So when is the vote?
So at the end of there's been one public consultation. This is the second one, and there was a third one on
Next Monday.
next Monday. So after those three public consultations, there's going to be a vote, a formal vote. The only thing that hasn't been agreed the only thing that hasn't been agreed is how the actual mechanics. I think they want Dover District Council to do a formal registered vote for people only electorally living in the village of Eastwood to vote.
I've put an item on the parish council's next meeting, which is tomorrow, on their agenda to discuss the format and date of the vote. But that is down to the parish council. If I had my way, we'd have the vote tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pat.
Two things. We sent out a survey, but I live in Wilmot, and the whole of our estate didn't even get notification about these meetings. I know it was in the Eastern magazine, but it seems strange that the whole of the village got letters, except us.
Totally beyond my remit, so.
To give our opinion. Secondly, you said about the lorries will be parking on your good sort of car park, but where will they go before you've done the car park? Because at the moment,
It would be Herristoff to start with, so they would just simply go onto the grass.
now, when it comes to schools or whatever, you've got to really plan. If you've got an appointment, you've got to go, it can't be around school time because you can't get
Oh,
out.
absolutely. Yeah, that would come up as a planning condition.
The impact on us will be horrendous.
The planners, they would absolutely, it would be a cast iron, strict delivery times, school.
They'll be queuing up along Gore Terrace.
Oh,
won't get out.
If none of you think that Dover District Council do what they should be doing and that their planning can't be adhered to, that's not something that I can be there for. All I can say as an architect, I would absolutely, as part of the method statement, make sure that the delivery times would avoid school runs and that the actual site compound would be set up right from day one, the Harris would be in place, and then they would arrange their parking and have to keep everything off, including mud washing off of any wall wheels and anything like that. Sorry, sir?
Have you been round Wilmot Place lately?
Yeah, yesterday when I rocked up the picture.
Since November last year, August, whatever, we haven't been out to park. We've lost our car parks and we've lost our roads.
Is that for the project that's going on the
Because
existing
they've put the
building?
roofs on. They've been at it for nearly a year.
So the disadvantage.
No, we had no warning.
I didn't do it. So the advantage, actually, to flip that through 360 is that you've got existing buildings there that haven't work done to them, so there's nowhere to park. Flipping that round, if you've got a site that's being given to build, that a build is only 2/3 of it, that whole site to start with would be a site compound. Once the building comes up, you've still got the parking, and then that's the last part of the puzzle to be handed over. They will not, categorically, if the project was to go forward, they would not be allowed to park anywhere on Wilmot Place. So it's actually, it would actually be a better scenario than a worse scenario, because you're dealing with existing buildings, this would be putting parking within a site for them. But that's what I said. They would only be coming in as if it was in the same way that a refuge truck uses it. Yes, it would be more frequent, I absolutely grant that. But again, the actual site strategy would be part of the planning application in terms of the pre-app. If at any stage the assessments say, and again this isn't me, if the assessments say this isn't actually sustainable in terms of the traffic and the use of the roads, then it doesn't go forward and it would stop at pre-app stage. It's as simple as that. Sorry? Well, so in terms of answering that question, at the moment you've got a contractor saying, right, we would like to put an offer in for that building and we can now use Gun Park because the two projects are coming together. If the projects don't come together, you've got to find another site. If you've got to find another site, you've got to buy the site if the project doesn't go forward. It doesn't stack up as a project if the village hall can't move to the Gun Park without having to pay for the site. Sorry?
So there's going to be a proper one opposed to what they did to Winsborough?
Not in the village, not in the heart of the village.
These old buildings are fantastic. These buildings will be it's 150 years old, it'll be in
Another
150 years old. That will not. That will deteriorate about 20 years.
That's right.
This floor, it's quality. If these maintenance, we're going to lose £5 grand income there, that'll pay for the gas bill. It's criminal. And I appreciate you.
Sorry,
Can I just ask what support we are going to get from Dover District Council? It's just that they did say that obviously it's rubbish filled, rubbish that's this, that and the other, yeah. So what support would they be giving us? Is there a grant that we can apply for or anything?
So, because of the fact that they've voted or assessed both as very poor, that gets fed into our grant application.
Right,
So
okay. Is that 100 grand from the FA?
No, that is purely a conversation that's been had with the lottery at the moment. So that the FA is where probably most of the money's going to come from because that's the grant.
There are DTC grants as well.
Yeah. So that conversation, there's going to be lots of bags to be pulled together.
Okay.
And that's whether or not it's a combined project or just a full project.
Yeah. And my second one was probably to parish council is that the parking, obviously losing these, but Dover District Council aren't selling or renting out their garages to anybody, and they haven't been renting out garages for many years. We've been on a waiting list and we've got 7 empty spaces. So these people, I don't know what they're going to do with their garages because they're not renting them out. We live next door to 7 spaces, and this is rented by Dover District Council, so I don't understand why they're not renting them out.
You've lost me as to...
Who owns those garages? Is it Village Hall or Dover District Council?
These photos are the Village Hall.
Village Hall.
They belong to the Village Hall. Okay, so it's not Dover District Council. Okay.
And in answer to Simon's question 15 minutes ago,
About 20 minutes ago.
yeah, they will be pulled down to make space for 2 new buildings, as I understand it from the developer.
Okay.
So at the moment there are 9 hirers taking up those 10 spaces, and they will have to find alternative arrangements for their cars, bikes, rubbish, whatever content.
Because Dover District Council aren't supplying garages, and they haven't done for years, and there's empty spaces all over the village. I don't know if the parish council.
We've got a meeting tomorrow night. I'll ask the question.
Yeah.
District council. I wasn't aware. We're
Yeah.
talking about the one in Millbury.
Millbury, we've got empty spaces and they're not being used, and we phone up regularly for a space and they're saying they're not selling one or renting them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we circled back to garages because that's where I fell off the. So essentially, somebody will try to facilitate for these people that currently rent the garages. Is that what's going to happen?
No.
No, but shouldn't it happen?
They don't care. They don't care about them.
There's no security with them. It's not. You only rent them per monthly in advance.
Right, but I mean.
Yeah, I've got one, but there's not, you're not entitled to have anything. You just rent the space monthly.
Right.
Rolling contract.
Well, but then when you live in a village, it's sort of like everybody sort of gets on, and it's just a kind, lovely environment that you. I don't know. I can't explain it. I've lived in this village all my life, and I just can't quite get to grips what's going on. It's a proper community. People come shopping here. You haven't seen somebody for a couple of weeks. You'll bump into somebody in the car park. They'll have a conversation. It's just the heart of the village.
The same thing that happens.
It's right away. It's not near the shops for beginnings, is it? It's not. It's not near the shops, is it?
I've been paying for these.
Have you ever lived in a village?
Excuse me, can I finish? Excuse me, can I finish, please? Can I finish, please? Because I'm.
Three ladies asked a question about the cafe. I've spoken to people in history. There will be no cafe. We've got 2 already.
Yeah. I don't want a cafe.
But we the lady who runs.
There won't be a pub either because we've already got a pub that's struggling. So the people.
So we did ask questions about the cafe. I don't know who you're referring to.
I did ask
you
about
you were speaking about the cafe over there?
No, garages.
Oh, sorry.
The garages, sorry.
The other half is, I'm a bit confused, as you can see. Maybe it's just gone a bit stupid. You said there's only 1 football pitch.
No.
At the moment.
Yes. And I'm confused because I went out there and I paced it out yesterday. There's 260 paces, the whole length. From the proposed parking area to the back of the new building is 60 meters, or paces, whatever. And now we're going to have 2 football fields. Yes, 2 football fields. How's it? Why can't we have 2 football fields now? If you're taking away 60 meters.
It's the shape of the park.
At the moment, you can't have 2 pitches because of the position.
Yeah, why can't you swap it around now?
Because of the existing clubhouse.
Eh?
Because of the position of the existing clubhouse. It doesn't work with the existing clubhouse and the existing position. The geometry doesn't work. You've got to have one off around. So the clubhouse has to go, so we have to put the clubhouse somewhere else. Which, to probably answer your question better, if me and Alan never had the conversation about the hub project, the way that the project or the plan A project goes forward is that we would have a new clubhouse at the bottom of the gun park, and then the existing pitch gets rotated so that then runs parallel rather than going down.
Did you guys do that now?
No, because the second pitch would clash with the position of the clubhouse in its existing position.
Which clubhouse are you talking about? The white one?
The existing one, that big grass.
You can take that away anyway.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
No, you can take it away now, can't you?
We've got nowhere to put any of our stuff if we take it away now.
We need a clubhouse.
You need a clubhouse.
Yes, but you,
We can't take away now.
yes, but you can put it, say, you can
Yeah,
put it,
that's plan
say,
A.
with the play
That's
ball.
plan A. That is plan A now.
With say, with the car park, where the play ball.
Yeah, that is the original
You've got
plan.
16 metres that you can put the clubhouse in.
That's the football club's plan A, was we were going to relocate the pavilion so as we could then grass over where the pavilion is now, and then you would have space for 2 pitches.
Yeah, you can do that anyway, can't you?
We can, yeah.
But we'd be without.
I think if this plan doesn't go
No,
ahead,
No,
that's
no, no,
what
it's
we have to do.
without this
You've
project.
got 60 metres to put the clubhouse.
This is plan B.
This is plan B, that's plan A.
That, yeah.
That was plan A.
Well, I just go on with respect to the cafe. Have you just said there will be a cafe?
Just to reiterate what I said right at the start. Just to reiterate what I said right at the start. So I was envisaging there, but unless the next stage it's either A, not wanted by the locals to be within that building envelope, or B, it's for whatever reason it's not considered to be an essential part and actually you just want to have a kitchen at the moment, then that may well be how it goes. But we need to be able to design that with you guys as part of the next phase.
The lady who runs the bakery has been told there will be no cafe, and I was there when she was told it.
I was there as well.
Well, I was there when she was told it.
At the moment, all I'm interested in is will the building envelope be accepted as a principle?
No, right, because nobody wants that cafe left up there.
Sorry? Young man.
Right, then, I've got 2 questions. The first one, with the bakery part, when we went to the bakery recently, Maria said that she got told to not attend the meeting.
Who by?
No, she got told that the meeting wasn't. She basically, we were told, she got told that she didn't need to attend the meeting because it was only 4 people around the table. So that's why she didn't attend the last one. So that's why she didn't attend, because she didn't know about this one, and I told her about it, and they was going to try and make
respect,
it.
if I was there, I'd come anyway.
Well, but she's got personal stuff today, but that's aside the point.
With respect, 2 weeks. Hang on. Kev.
Yes, I did say to her, I said, well, why don't you come to this one, because she had personal stuff.
Far away, sir.
This is a lovely
Bit of hush, please.
Thank you. When this building is sold, if it's sold, then it will become a building site. And then nobody will be able to park in the car park. Even though Alan says there's 800 vehicle movements a week, your words.
It's more than that, actually.
160 at least a day. They put 5 buildings up. The modern idiom is you have 2 car parking spaces per building, which is 10 car parking spaces, which fills up that whole lot.
Oh, no, parking plan. Between
the buildings out there.
between this.
As part of the development, and we have to have a parking.
And so
that is absolutely ring fenced.
yeah, you will not get 800 car parking vehicle movements a day in just that.
It's not, no, it's not.
Sorry, a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20 parking. So people will not be able to park out there because some people will come and stay and go up the road to shops, whatever. The shops will, it won't be open as a car park for at least a year when this building is being modernised.
A little bit like the actual building itself, there would have to be a real traffic in terms of parking for them, would have to be at the back.
Yeah, but when the building is being ripped down,
Yeah.
it won't be open as a car park, it will be closed.
No, you would go.
The HSC will never let you have a public car park when it's a building.
In terms of then where they would be parking, the contractors would definitely have to.
Yeah, fine, okay.
So there would only be a vehicular movement to the back. They're not going to be parking at the front.
No.
We're not taking this down, right?
This facade.
The whole building stays.
No, with respect to the front.
Back of it.
As soon as the back starts coming down, someone will say, this is in a dangerous state, it needs to come down. And it will, because it's always happened in other places.
If we go up in flames, the same as the hospital. We know that.
And it will never become stay a car park all the time there's work being done on this building. Because the HSC will never allow public to be in a building site with lorries coming in and out. That was, and if it's shut for a year, all the shops will shut, the village will die. That's the first. Yeah.
Hang on, if there was in danger of that happening, then the project doesn't go forward anymore.
No.
Again, that's going to be part of that when I say about the next phase. It's not just going to be the jump park, it's also going to be this.
Yeah.
If KCC or health and safety dictate that this isn't going to happen at the next phase, then it doesn't go forward.
I quite agree. But like the lady said, this is a beautiful building, it needs modernising, there is money available, and because it's a charity, you can get grants to get it done.
They are few and far between, small grants. Yeah.
Well,
If we went to the larger organisations.
To get your pitches up to standard.
Sorry.
Have you costed how much?
No, BBC.
They give us 12 grand a year for pitch maintenance per pitch.
Yeah,
That's what we.
you're gonna rip the top off,
Yeah.
put drainage in,
Yeah.
and then refeed it.
Yeah.
For 12 grand a year?
12 grand a year maintenance.
It's
Yeah.
gonna
No, the initial part that comes out of the grant to put the drainage in, and then it's a 12 grand a year.
if you get a grant.
Maintenance, yeah. We've already been agreed in principle.
But principles don't hold up.
No, obviously not, because you've got to have projects underway.
Yeah.
Take a step back a bit.
I'll try to get it done before.
Sorry.
Current running costs of this place. With the orientation of this building, has anyone given any consideration to solar panels on the roof here?
Yes, it's on the list of possible improvements to the building. Maybe in two phases. One is the flat roof at the back of this room, which will take about 12 panels. And then we won't be able to put anything on the east side of the building, but the west side, yes. And it's 30 panels on there, plus battery, plus everything else. Last year when we looked at it, before Woods' offer, the price for the whole thing was something in the region of £25,000.
Grants not available?
We keep trying, and we keep coming up with nothing.
I want to come back to the question about the title for this building. Now, I've been told by various people in the village that this building, the Eastleigh Village Hall, belongs to the people of the village. Wait, please. In the same way as the Eastleigh Young People's Club belongs to the young people of the village. Now, I don't know exactly how these things work, but I've been trying to find out. Now, I do understand that you've put in an application to the land registry to acquire the title for this building and the surrounding land. Now, I've also heard from a town councillor that if perhaps the charity became insolvent, that this building would go to the town council. I don't know if that's correct.
No.
Sorry?
No.
You see, I haven't been able to access the Constitution yet, or any of...
I know. This building in 1933, the Reverend Yeats...
Wrong.
No, right. And roughly 35 other people all clubbed together, got a mortgage, £650, bought it off the parish council because they didn't have the money to develop it into the village hall. And so it belongs to the people of the village. If this was to cease, like if the committee didn't have enough members, then the parish council take it over.
This is what I've been told. Now, I did have a discussion...
It's in the Constitution.
Is it?
It should be somewhere up here.
Oh, well, I'll look for that later then. But that is what I had been told. Now, the charity is a separate legal entity. If the charity acquires the title to the building, then the charity will become the owner of the building, not the people of the village.
The people of the village do not own this property.
Well, it's not listed.
The fact that it's not on the land registry doesn't preclude the fact that the building is owned by East Street Village Hall Charitable Trust.
How can we see that?
You can't at the moment, but you will when it's on the land registry. It's not owned by the people of the village.
But
that is just wrong.
I've been speaking with a colleague who's a solicitor, and the colleague said that the land registry is likely to give the title to whoever appears to have the best claim. So I can see that could be the charity, and that they could acquire that legally on that basis. But I haven't seen the underlying documents that you refer to in terms of ownership. It's there, is it? I hadn't seen that. I hadn't been able to access it. And now my questioning then led on to, and I'm sorry if I'm going on a bit, but it went on to, with regard to, let's say the charity became insolvent and the building goes back to the parish council. Well, that will not happen, because if the charity owns the building, it's not going to become insolvent, because that will be its asset, and it will be able to borrow money against that asset. And speaking with my solicitor friend, the only way they'd become insolvent is if they borrowed so much money that they couldn't afford the loan repayments. And then the bank would own the village hall, because the bank would presumably foreclose on the loan. But it would not revert back to the council. So if it's somehow within the papers that I haven't seen, that it reverts back to the council, that would be compromised by the charity acquiring the title. And I mean, I don't know any more than that, but I felt it was a question that was important to ask.
This document goes back to 1934, and it's in 1934 legalese, and it's hard work. Sorry. The document is hard work to understand because of its legal language of 90 years ago. But there is a clause 14 in here, which basically says that should the charity get into any kind of difficulty, it can first and foremost try and raise a mortgage, but thereafter it can sell the property and move to another site to be held in trust for the purposes and subject to the provisions that are already in this document. And where are we? Here we are. Should it totally fail, then the money shall be invested in the name of the official trustees of the charitable fund, and any income arising therefrom shall either be accumulated for such time allowed by law, or to be applied to other charitable institutions within the area. There's no mention of the parish council.
Well, you see, and therein lies some confusion, but also, does the village hall belong to the village or not?
No, it belongs to the charitable trust.
And who's the charitable trust
No,
then?
the level of technicality involved is probably put that to the village also to our things to be properly answered. Because otherwise we could end up getting completely sidetracked there.
Sorry, but who is the charitable trust then? Who owns this property?
The charitable trust,
Who?
which is run by a team of volunteers, of which I am the chairman. We have a treasurer, and we have a committee made up of volunteers from the area, including hall hirers, who basically have an interest in the building. My interest in this building is because with Simon we've built a brilliant snooker club upstairs.
There is the list of trustees is listed on the Charities Commission site, so you can see the list of trustees. But is it?
On here, Christina.
The list of trustees is listed on the Charity Commission website, so you could inquire on that. And I have done, and I did look for the document, but it wasn't there on there. But I will look at it later. Now, what was I thinking? So, with regards to, you were saying about it being a trust versus being a CIO. Now, I'm aware that the CIO requires less reporting than a trust, or that's what I've been told. But you said that didn't go ahead, so it's remained.
No, because it was tens of thousands of pounds worth of solicitors' fees.
Right.
Basically to give trustee. This was before my time as I was on the committee, but I wasn't chairman. After COVID, somebody had obviously recognised the fact that should the absolute worst happen, and this place catch fire, somebody dies, there's a huge claim, and the trustees would be liable. Praise God, it doesn't happen. And they really got themselves in a knot over this one, and they saw the way forward as changing from a charitable trust to a charitably incorporated organisation, because as I alluded to earlier, that then gives the individuals, the trustees, the same protection as the directors of a limited company have versus sole trader.
So at the moment, is there a legal separation between the trustees as individuals and the trust? Because I'm not clear that there is.
No, if you signed up as a trustee, you are still liable should the worst happen. But, and this is where I've taken advice and why the Charitable Incorporated Organisation project got killed, was that if you run the organisation properly and you minute and record the decisions as you go, and you can refer back to those decisions, like I'm going to for dates, etc. Then, should the worst happen, the Charitable Commission will protect you from any legal claims.
And that's as far as liabilities go, but in terms of benefits, does that then also translate into the trustees becoming the owner of the village hall?
No, we are all volunteers, we're not owners. The charitable
sorry about that.
The charitable trust is the owner. No single group of people are, including the village.
Yes.
Well, I just want to say, because the village hall is a charity asset and serves the community for over a century, the chairman cannot simply decide to sell it to a developer.
The chairman, can I stop you there?
Let me finish.
Sorry.
Under UK charity and planning law, the chairman faces massive regulatory hurdles. If the community acts quickly, you can, well, I won't go into that, but anyway, this one says, force the designated land. A 100-year-old village hall is almost certainly classed as designated land or specimen land, and in charity law, this means the building was given to the village specifically to be used, to be specifically to be used by village hall under the Charities Act 2011, trustees cannot sell designated land without first giving public notice of the proposed, which I know you've done, the proposed sale, and inviting representations from the community. They must give the public at least 1 month to object, which you're doing. This is with the Charity Commission. So therefore, how long have you lived in the village? Can I ask?
43 years.
43 years.
42, sorry.
We've only just taken over the village hall 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Now you want to sell it?
No, I don't want to sell it. The key word there is I.
You want to do
Right?
not you, but
This building is managed by a committee, made up of volunteers and hall hirers, right? I'm sat here with a mandate from that committee to pursue this project. There was a show of hands on the committee, and from memory there was 1 abstention. The rest voted at least to pursue the project, to see whether it could go ahead, because those committee members have sat through multiple meetings, trying different ways of lowering the costs and increasing the turnover to get this place back in the black. It is now in the black, but it's because of a lot of bloody hard work to do it blackly.
so this wasn't decided but just by the chairman?
No.
This was the whole committee?
Yes, yes. The whole committee bar 1 abstention. Andrew, you were at the meeting?
Yeah. But I think it's fair to say, Alan, the committee gave the go-ahead to explore the possibility, not for it to be a done deal, when it to be on the gun park.
It's not a done deal, as Kevin's been trying to get.
Can I?
You've been in the black. You had 56 grand. In 2021, you had 56 grand.
Yes, and we've spent quite a lot of it in.
On what? Those silly pictures.
No. Well, we have spent some on those silly pictures. I can't argue with that. But we've also got a hall.
Can we take a vote?
Can I just say can I just speak to the lady, please? Can I just quickly respond to what the lady said? Just quickly respond to what the lady said. You referred to the notice of sale having already been published. And
Let's take a vote.
has it? I don't think it has. I don't think it has been published.
Sorry?
I haven't seen the notice of sale and the required notice.
That's what the committee want to do, sell it, yeah.
Can we just listen to the shipman?
Can you just ask me one last question? Because it affects the nursery that I work at, and that's what he's interested to ask you. Can he just ask you one last one? That's all he wants to ask
The
you?
nursery is right next to the gun park, and normally they have this little buggy which they take the children out of. But we're going round that park, because normally they go to the wooden path. There's going to be a car park right next to that park, which is going to make it really dangerous for them little kids. So I just wanted to say, I think you need to think about that.
Sorry about the impact it will have.
The plan.
Yeah, he's basically just worried about the impact it would have on the nursery, because obviously we take the kids out every day, rain and snow. And he's just saying, he just was making sure that there would be no effect to their safety, because obviously we take them out on buses, walks, we use the field.
I know there's a park, but
The older ones go in the field.
The nursery, obviously, there's 2 ways to access the nursery. So you can foot by car. Obviously, the car, you don't go, that's unaffected. The driveway is unaffected. It's nothing to do with this project. In terms of the access to the pathway, there's a path that would take you either side onto the grass with no need to cross over.
So is there going to be like a little
like, they know we have their metal like bars, not bars, metal fences got in the thing. Will there be one around the park? Will there be like park?
The park will follow, for the width of the car park, there's a park all the way around it, which wasn't in the first scheme I introduced that in response to one of your concerns about the car parking. So the car park was moved over and the pathway was introduced.
How many parking spaces are there?
We've done that.
Yeah, we've done all that. We're going around in circles.
Let's have Yeah.
Okay, so to bring this meeting to a close before people start leaving, some people have left and we've recorded their views. So the question the parish council would like you to answer now, and we need help adding up. If you're on the electoral roll for Eastry, you're entitled to make this vote. So first of all, we want to know if you're on the electoral roll for Eastry and you're happy for the new community hub, as shown, to be built on the gun park. Would you raise your hands if you're happy to go ahead? And you're on the electoral roll.
Well, that's one then. Two.
You don't have. Did you vote last time?
I did, yes.
So you'll vote again?
Yes.
Don't worry about voting again. This is the second of 3 meetings, but the information will be passed to the parish council. Now, again, the same question. Do you think a new community hub, as shown in the diagrams, should be built in the car park, and you're on the electoral roll, and your answer is no? If you
No,
Give up now.
Sorry? I'll ask at the end.
Okay, hands down. Anybody like to abstain from the vote? On the electoral roll, but abstaining from the vote? Abstaining. 2 abstentions.
Right, well, thank you for turning up, folks. Want to stand pretty pictures?
Could I just, excuse me everybody, I've been videoing this meeting, which I want, it's a public meeting. If anybody does not want it shared, please let it know.
No, we're fine, just share it. Share it. We don't mind. Just as long as I've got my big family.
I don't video.
No, I'm joking.